Hi, my name is Frazier. I am a frontline worker. I work for Regional One Health Hospital, and I get up every morning. I have to get up early from, I would say, 6 a.m., but my scheduled shift isn't until 8:30, and that runs until 5 to 6 o'clock p.m. at night. I For me as a frontline worker, things have, changed drastically since COVID has happened. I say that because as well as I work at work, while I do things at work and I work with the patients, I also have home to consider because I'm a caretaker for my mom as well. I when I get up in the morning, it's making breakfast for my mom, getting out the door. I get in clinic, and the first thing we do is basically I start rooming patients. We have patients. We have to stay masked up at all times. We have patients where they're potentially COVID patients. Some are COVID positive, some are not. Well, we don't know that because I'm outpatient. I'm outpatient, and we were N95 masks all day. So we put on face shield all day, meaning that we have 30 minutes for lunch. So all day we're in this gear because we're trying to protect ourselves as well as the patients. When I encounter patients that are, potentially COVID positive patients and patients that are COVID positive, regardless of, their diagnosis, we still treat them like a human being. Treating them like a human being, to me, that's most important of all, because, I see people, I even have family members, I see people that generally, they see a patient cough or they see a patient like feeling ill or looking ill, is like they frown at them, they turn them away, things like that. Like I said, I've had family members to encounter this, family members that have cancer, and they can't help their illness. But since COVID has happened, it's changed a lot of our lives. It's changed our lives in ways that it's almost like we don't have sympathy. Some of us don't have sympathy for one another. It's like we're like, ill, get away from me, or as if it's something that it's something that, no, yes, it can potentially kill us, but it's like to treat one like that. Some of the patients that are dealing with this, they don't have family by their side. Say they don't have people they can actually talk to or to speak with. I fear sometimes that, even though I deal with, patients every day, I don't know always who I'm dealing with, but I take the proper precautions, but I don't want to make anyone feel like they're not a human being. Because when I leave my clinic and I go home, I have to make sure that whatever I had and whatever I'm exposed to in clinic, that I don't bring it home to my mom, who is also disabled, elderly, and has health issues of her own. So a typical day for me looks like it's like when I get to work, we're busy. We see a total of maybe we can see up to 24 patients a day per provider. So that means that when we have a total in the clinic of four providers, four doctors, two doctors, 3 nurse practitioners. So my bad, that'll be 5 providers. And their typical day from getting there is rooming the patients, and I get all of their vitals. If that patient needs blood work, we get the blood work, we get the EKGs. I do all of that, including making that patient's appointment. And that goes on if the patient needs a COVID test. We do all of that in that same visit. And after that, it's like honestly, I'm exhausted by the time I get home. And 5:30, 6 o'clock, now that, daylight savings, it's already dark outside. And I get home, my mom, I do her dialysis 4 days a week. And sometimes I can have complications with doing during that treatment. So I get home, I set up the dialysis machine. We do her in-home dialysis. That lasts anywhere from maybe total from setting up the machine, 3 to 4 hours. Setting up and getting her off the machine. So I'm pretty much exhausted by the time I, get home, because I have to think about, once I get home from work, all the exposure that I've gotten from patients that I wouldn't know if they're COVID. I have to treat every patient like they're COVID positive. And I have to get out of everything. I have to shower. I have to, not expose my mom to those things, including making her meals, doing things like making her meals. Sometimes I have to wear a mask because I don't know if I feel ill that day. I don't know what I could have been exposed to, but I have to take precautions for her, because for her, it could be detrimental for me to get sick from something like that. It can also be, detrimental for her. So I just try to take as much precautions as I can not to, infect her as well. But other than that, I have patients that come in. Usually, back in clinic, I have patients that they don't come in, but patients that'll call me just to say, hey, they will get in touch with the call center just to talk to me, just to ask me, how am I, or to tell me a story about, them or one of their family members. I think that being a part of healthcare is, I love it. I love what I do, because I'm not only involved with patients as, someone that oversees their care, but as a friend. And I think a lot of the times we need a friend. We need, taking that time out just to say, hey, how are you? When we bring those patients back, that means a lot, to that patient. That, sometimes you don't know what they're going through. You don't know, like patients who we have that just got over COVID, they're still struggling. Some of them have no family to see after them. They don't have people to call and say, hey, well, what can I do if I still have this cough? They don't have that. So to me, I am that person that they're comfortable with. They're comfortable with enough to talk to. They're comfortable enough to say, hey, I know you're busy, but if you got a minute of time just to spare, I really would like to talk to you about something. And sometimes I don't have a minute, but I make that minute, and I make that, and it's like, to them, that means the world. It means the world just for me to just take the time out to be there for them, when they felt as if no one was there. I feel like, even though we save lives in healthcare, we save lives, when people's lives are saved dealing with COVID and things like that, we also save lives by just being there for the patients and them having someone to just talk to, someone they can reach out to, because sometimes we need love. I think overall we need love, and if they can feel that love, sometimes that gives them that extra push to just keep going. I would think so.